This week on the video, we've got someone coming back for their second lesson. So they've had an initial assessment, an initial lesson, which is an hour long, and they've gone home with a load of homework, and they've come back to progress and also just to have a bit of a catch up, make sure what they're doing is right. Hi, my name's Charlie Thorburn. Welcome to Mordor Gun Dogs. We've got another training lesson here. So sort of real life situation, as it were. Ash is doing a lesson with a golden retriever, showbred golden retriever, who's just wanting to be an obedient family pet. When it arrived last time, it was sort of hauling the owner around on a lead, being a bit silly. Not a bad dog, nice dog, but just not really, not really turning the line. So it's had a lesson, it's gone away, owners have done some practice, and they've come back to see how they're doing and what they should be doing next. So let's see how Ash gets on.
And how's progress?
Going well.
Going okay?
Yeah.
Still nice and excited?
Very excited. It's a long drive. It's 2 hours, so.
And what have we been doing?
So we've been doing our loose lead walking.
Yeah.
And she's been getting on great.
Making progress?
Yeah. Just when we're out on long walks, I'll just suddenly turn around and go in the other direction. And she's paying attention.
She's paying more attention. Good. Any bad bits of walking on the lead? Still having those little moments where she's excited?
Having moments, but then just doing what you said, just the tug, tug, tug.
Good. So you painted that picture nicely. So she's coming in good and great.
Yeah.
And have we done any kind of sit and stay or anything like that, or are we?
Well, she will stay until she decides not to.
Sure.
So you're going to say that's not a stay at all?
Yeah.
But
it's a sit and a stand, yeah.
Yeah, but I try and make her sit and then dance around her, run around her, and then I try and go out of sight. But then as soon as I try and go out of sight.
So it might be that it's just a little bit difficult for her, sort of just now, and we'll go through a little way of making that a nice little lesson.
Yeah.
You walking her on the left?
On the left, yeah.
So you'll just need to switch your lead around just to. I'll show you.
Oh, it's upside down.
It is, but we'll let you off. We'll let you off. I'll let you just pop that back over the. Yeah, and so get them out of the car. Sometimes it's easy to just get them under control straight away. But always have a little look before we start, just to make sure. And that we go through that little reason again as the reason that slips loose.
Yeah.
That doesn't. Yeah. So it slips loose for us, but the dog has this little grey area. So they're stuck in this. Is it pressure? Isn't it pressure? Yeah. I don't know how to switch it off. So it's really important. Okay, don't feel any pressure. Just have a little up and down, just so that I can just see what you've been doing already. Good, and straight out the car. This is the routine. Yeah. Good. So there's a couple of questions on the YouTube where they say, will my dog go for a pee kind of straight out, or does it pull here, there and everywhere to go for a wee? So what I would always do is I'd have my out of the car routine, which is this, and then I would pick a feature, especially for a boy or a girl, and I'd go to that area, and then I'd say, go wee wee, like give them a chance to go, give them a chance to have a little, so that they're not actually sort of pulling, not that we're giving them a command to go to the toilet. It's not how it works. That's just timing. We're picking that time where they can go for a wee. But I just thought I'd just cover that little one. What we do, we walk down to the same place we had the first lesson down by the pond. Okay. So do you remember last time we just went through? I'll just have a little feel. Hello. So last time we went through turning away from the dog. Did we turn into the dog last time? Did we get that?
Did both.
Did a bit of turning in, and then backing away, showing that little picture of coming in and being nice and happy here. Yes. So the only kind of little criticism for you, or little criticism, is that on the turn, it'll just be that we just want to be rather than get to the corner and we kind of guide the dog round like this, the lead goes tight. We just want to give that tiny little tug in that direction. So it's loose, little press, good. And then the dog's back with us like that. So it's a little bit more instant rather than kind of holding the pressure on. The dog's fighting me a little bit and you're kind of pulling them round a little bit. So they're just a little bit, so just having that, as you turn there, it'll just be a little nag, good. And then once they're back with you, a little bit more praise, have a little go. We just get that. It's going to be very happy to see you.
There we go.
Good. So you look much more relaxed now. Good. So when the nose is coming round like that and it's all voluntarily coming round, that's normally a sign that the dog's kind of paying attention and is, for me, that's when I'm ready to kind of start training, is that when I don't have to remind anymore, that's a good kind of marker that they're kind of in tune with me. And then from there we can start maybe turning into the dog. We'll have a little look how you're doing that. Good. Good. And then if you just walk backwards again, like so like you did, just encouraging into this position here. So as if the dog's out ahead, good. So all of those things the dog's learnt quite nicely. Yeah. So that we're making good progress. So heel work's coming along nicely. Have you got areas where it is going wrong? Have you, like, do you take her somewhere and she's more of a pain there than other places, or is it
high scent areas,
yeah,
countryside areas?
Yeah. So I would just for now not avoid them entirely, but maybe the areas that she's going wrong and she's having that kind of nostalgia trip of where she is. This is where I've got away with it quite a long for a little while, like a longish time. She's always going to revert back to that. She's going to say, this is the gait I know, this is the scent I know. It's always going to be a bit harder. So just sort of breaking that place down by coming out the car, back to the car, 20 foot back to the car, 50 foot back to the car. By the time you're kind of breaking up that journey and they're not really thinking about the field so much, that's when you can get to the field. So when they've forgotten about it, that's when you can get there.
She eventually goes on a walk when she realises we're not having a sniff walk.
Yeah.
She'll suddenly go, oh,
yeah,
fine then, I'll just come with you.
Yeah. So all the time, so there's different sort of with the dog, and this is entirely up to you. If the nose is down, the dog's going to get a little bit distracted and maybe pull on and take a little bit of scent. We can work on getting the nose up. Now, if we work on getting the nose up, we have to work on it every single time. It can't be like you can sniff Monday, Tuesday, and not Wednesday, Thursday. It's either up while it's in this position, or it kind of pacifies itself a little bit. Now, if it does pacify itself a little bit, you're going to find pushing the training further on a bit harder, just because they're focused on something else while you're trying to teach them something else. So if they're focused on that, and we're saying, right, now we want to do a memory retrieve, or we want to make stuff harder, all the time the memory retriever's out, the dog is losing focus, and it's completely forgetting about what it is it's actually doing, and then it gets caught up on that. So it's just a kind of good point to. But if you're happy with how she's walking, that's good. What we'll just go through. You're going to show me how you do a little sit. So just a little bit of walking to heel, and then a little bit of sit, and then back to heel walking, just so that I can see how you're doing it, and then we'll give you some guidance. Okay, so she's kind of like auto sitting. How did you get there?
Just by a gentle little tug tug and a sit.
Yeah.
And you said last time I wasn't to speak to her.
Yeah, no. So last time, so no, you have done the right thing. So last time was purely a hill lesson.
Yeah.
And what I don't want is any communication during that, because normally what happens is the word that we're saying to the dog means something else, whereas like a sit is actually fine, because that's one of the first things they do as puppies. So normally they connect the dots pretty easy, but for the reason why I don't want any communication during the hill work is because as soon as people say here or heel or with me or the number of things it can mean, normally when they say that thing, the dog is already focused on something else. So what's actually happening is you're saying something's about, but you're just giving it the wrong word. And the reason why I don't want anything during the hill lesson is because the more I say, the more dog may revert to what it thinks it already knows. So saying less is more, but now we're going to be adding that word, and also we can add a word to your hill walking now that it is in that position. So actually, we'll just do a tiny little bit of that.
Okay.
So if you just wander up and down again with the dog. So now the dog is in that position and you are turning. So for me, now is the time that I would give that position a name. Okay. I would say heel, and then I would pat myself on the knee. Okay. So that's the target. All the time the dog is not in that position, I would stay completely silent. So what we don't want the dog to assume the heel position is ahead of us or behind us. Or if it's ahead of us, we don't say heel and then give it a correction back, because the dog will just think heel means nag on the lead. So what we want to do is all the time the dog is there, and it's like a little lullaby. We don't want to get the dog too excited, but it's just heel, good girl, heel, yeah? So have a little go. Good. So what she's doing now is she's going to pair that position with the word you're saying, and it's going to make sense. Okay, does that make sense? How we add the word now that we've got the thing we're after? So to start with, I want to show the dog where to be and how to be, and then I want to add the word. And this is much nicer. This is far nicer. So we'll just do a little sit, and feel free to add the word sit. That's absolutely fine. So the dog's auto sitting anyway, which is really good. And then back to heel. So before you leave, what we want is to say the dog's name. We want that response of if I say your name, I want your eyes to look at me. So it's name, command, and then back to heel work. So you're rolling jobs. So you're walking to heel is your first job, sit is your second job, back to a job. So if we let them be idle, they'll be idle in the wrong direction. They'll make their own mind up, and it won't be quite what we want it to be just yet. Now once they're quite far along in the training, that will become the default position, because eventually the fun stuff happens. Okay?
Okay.
Good. Good. So before you move, so it'll be name, little pause, give her that chance to look at you, and then make it really obvious, heel. And then, so when you walk to heel as well, a good point is that we step with that leg. So that leg draws them. Rather than walking with that leg, we'll do this in a later lesson, but normally if the dog's on a sit and stay, I walk away with this leg. So the dog doesn't follow that leg. If I'm asking it to heel, this is the target, I step away with that, it follows that as the target. So for the dog learning later on that this leg steps away, it means I'm moving away. This leg means you're coming with me, kind of thing.
That makes sense.
Yeah. So like further on in training, you can't really talk to your dog so much. Competitions, you can't talk to them at all. So they have to know what these little subtle things are. It depends how far you want to go with training, but if you kind of have all these little things in line, they all make sense, and they all do help. So have another little go. We'll just have that little, we'll do a little heel work first and then another little sit, and we'll just get that timing right.
Okay. Molly, sit. Molly, here.
Good, that's better. So that's complete, and we'll come around and we'll turn and then we'll do another one.
Sit. Molly, here.
Good, well done. That's perfect. So that's like 2 clean repetitions of it going completely right. Now we're going to make it harder. You're going to show me a little sit stay, as short as you like, or as like just whatever.
Okay.
Show me how you're doing it, and then we'll
Okay.
unpick it and help you out a little bit.
Keeping her on the lead.
I would. Yeah.
We're beside a pond.
Yeah.
So we
You don't want to go swimming. Look like you're nice and clean.
stay. Sit. Stay.
Okay. So, what do you think? What do you think I'm going to say?
She's not.
No. So everything was good. Everything was good. So what we did there was we mixed 2 lessons up, which is a really it's a common thing I see all the time. So if you're doing heel work, that's in this box over here. If you're doing sit stay, that's in this box over here. If you're doing recall, that's over there. So what we're trying to do is a sit and stay, and then we've said to the dog, come towards me. So what's going to happen is the dog is always going to think that you're going to want it to come to you.
Yeah.
So for a real rock steady sit and stay is that the dog sits on that spot, we back away, we return to it, we back away, we return to it. Now the rule for this is like, it's a rule of thumb, it's 8 times out of 10 return to your dog, 2 times out of 10 call the dog to you. If the dog starts to creep, just return to it every time.
Okay.
But for me, a young dog, I would return to it 100% of the time until I know it's grown roots into that spot, and I know it's not second guessing, leaving, coming towards me.
Yeah.
So the hard thing about this is that we've just said to the dog, be with me, follow me, be with me, and now we're saying don't be with me. So the dog's going to have that little bit of a creep. So what I like to do, I like to you can use place boards, bathroom mats, anything like that. If you're out and about, I have these little squares, so I tend to sit my dog on one of these squares and I can see if they've had a little creep or not. So we just go back through it again, and now this is likely to go a little bit wrong. So as you return to the dog's likely to creep towards you, because we've kind of underpinned it with that coming to me. So don't worry too much about that. We'll just show you how to get through it. So just back away a little bit again. Good. And then return. Good. Okay. Well done. Perfect. I didn't even have, so what we did there was we took the dog back to the exact spot it left. And that's a really important part with the sit and stay. If it creeps forward 2 feet, it's really important that it goes back to the exact blade of grass it was on, the exact spot it was on. We paint that picture to the dog that this is where you went wrong. We've gone back, we've put them right, and then we've done it again. Okay, so when you're doing this, as much as possible, if you can have the dog directly facing you, so nose to nose almost. It doesn't matter too much now, but just for the next one we do, is that the more we're kind of nose to nose like this, the more I'm going back to the dog dead on. So what we're doing here is this is recall in reverse, although the dog doesn't know it yet, but we're painting a picture because we can return to it over and over and over again. And we're doing a sit stay lesson, but the hard bit is that 10-foot gap. That's always where recall will go wrong. They'll come in, they'll do a big loop around you, so what we're doing is we're doing that last bit, the danger zone. It's like an imaginary bubble around you that the dog hits and just can't come back. So what we're showing the dog is that actually me returning to you is a really good thing. You need to trust this position and this process. There is a certain amount of physical pressure we're putting on the dog because as we're returning to the dog, we're big, the dog isn't, so it's intimidating for the dog, it is. But what we've got to do is we've got to charm the dog through it and say, this is the best position in the world. Nothing bad's going to happen here. This will also help if the retrieving is poor, because the dog's more likely to deliver something. So just return to your dog and give it a little bit of praise. And we're good. So that's perfect. And then name, command.
Molly, stay.
Good. And then when you're ready, the next one will be return to the side of the dog. And then back to your heel work. Good. So the reason we always return to the side of the dog is because that is the position of heel, and that is, we want to start them in that position. We already want to put them there. What we don't want to do with a dog that hasn't fully understand it is call them to the heel position, because they won't know how to get from there round the back of us to the right position. It will just be too difficult for them. So what we do is we set it up, we return to them, we go to their side, they're already in that position, heel, and away we go. It just makes it, it just means that you're setting them up for success straight away. Any questions?
No, everything seems really
Good.
sensible.
Good.
It all makes sense.
That's what I like to hear. Sweet little dog. So with your praise as well, we just come back to this spot just one more time, just so that we make sure we get this right. Good, that's perfect. So backing away there. So when we get to the point where you're going to want to push the boundaries and drop this lead, when you drop that lead, it's got your hand scent on it, what's going to happen, and it's falling. So the dog's nose is automatically going to go down. So we'll just drop it and we'll just see what the dog does. Great. Like it's a really normal thing. So that is just another little distraction that you could add. Now, when you drop the lead like this, always drop it towards you, so that if the dog is going to go, you just step forward, you put your foot on the lead, you don't panic. That's the first thing to do. If the dog's going to disappear for a distraction, all you want to do is you want to calmly step forward, stop it from happening, calmly. And what we do, we just got a car coming, so if we just and just go back to that again, and we drop that lead, so we pick up from where we was. So that's your little progression. So this is going well. The dog's doing well. I can see you've done a little bit, but as soon as you drop that lead, expect that nose to go down. Great. Now you can back away a couple more feet. Now when you go back, always look at the dog. Never turn your back on the dog. Don't ever miss an opportunity for eye contact. So if you was to turn away now and walk away, one, you don't know what the dog's doing, and two, you're missing that opportunity where the dog can look at you and you can bond with the dog. So I always want to face the dog. Now imagine I've got my own dog, just for a second. So when I return, what I want is I want to paint this picture to the dog, is that as I return, my hands come under the chin. If I'm under the chin, the bum is likely to stay on the ground. We never pat the dog on the head. If we pat the dog on the head, the bum does this. Okay. So what's going to happen is the bum's going to come up, and then we're going to have to reset. So the first thing I want to do is, as I'm coming in, I want to show the dog that this is how I take an item off of you. So I want to do the same thing. So I'm under the chin, and then I'm a gentle lullaby. Good girl, yeah? So it's really gentle. I don't want the dog to get too excited. And then it'll be under the chin, sit, and we back away again. We keep everything good. So have a little go at that. Good. So you see there, we've got nice eye contact. The dog's looking at you. That's really nice. Now for other people at home or other people, the dog might start to look away like a salmon. It might, you know, that if you're in an area that's too rich, that might happen. So we just close the gap halfway and pause. Good. Well done. So yeah, we're doing again a little bit of a reset with this as well, because the dog, I can see there, it's ready to, it's like mum's come back to me 3 times, when is she going to call me over? So we're just back away, we do it one more time.
Stay.
So the hardest thing about this is the first kind of 5 foot. Once you're where you are now, you can probably build the distance up quite quickly. But if the dog leaves quickly, you close the gap quickly. You go to the lead. There's no need to tell them off or be angry or anything like that. It's just we take them back to the spot. We start again. We make it shorter. We get success. and just by constantly doing it, the dog will learn. When I stand, I get brought back. Nothing happens. So they'll just end up switching off. This is good if you're eating your dinner at home. Get the dog to sit and watch you. So for me, I have lots of dogs that need training. So all of the boring jobs like doing the washing up, I do the washing up, but I'm watching the dog. I sit it on the back doormat. If the dog moves, that's my primary thing. Is the dog's first, the dishes are second. I go back, I reset. So we'll just return to the dog before we're over that threshold period of it going wrong. Little bit of praise from the front, then return to the side of the dog. And then when you're ready, name, command, and away you go. So the dog just guessed what you were doing just a little bit there. So just prepare for it in the future. But other than that, very good. And building up that sit and stay can you know, like I say, for me it starts with the dishes and hanging out the washing. Not that I do that very well or very often, but it ends up sort of somewhere in the pub. It's that the dog can sit there whilst I'm over there, and I know. So I always like to sit the dog somewhere where it can see me and somewhere where I can see it. So I can see if it's gone wrong, I can help it out. If it's under the table, I don't know what it's doing.
No.
Yeah. So I'm, you know. But that's the progression. That's the busiest environment where you got food, other dogs, people that go, oh, what a lovely
All
dog.
the time.
Yeah. And that's just really, really hard. So you just have to, you know, get your neighbour out or get your friend out. That's going to kind of be like, oh, what a lovely dog. And then you just carry on going past like I don't exist. And I need to become like the background noise. And you know, she can work through those distractions of that. Good. Any questions?
No, that's really good.
That's probably quite in depth for a you know, but it's good because I can see you've done all the basics and you've done everything, and she's nicely in tune with you.
Yeah.
How is she kind of off a lead? And because that'll be our next lesson where we're at, is it'll be having, you know, we'll recap all of this stuff again. We can set drills up where she's there and we call her to us, but we don't want to do that too much. We want to make the recall a bit more realistic. When it's a drill like that, they're already sat. You call them up to you. There is, you know, it's kind of a little bit misleading because you think it's going perfect, and then and what happens is when they've actually got their nose down, or it's a completely different thing. So we'll just work on that separately. But what is she like? Does she get away from you?
If she smells something
Okay.
that is interesting, she will just zone out of me and just go.
And how is her retrieving?
She's not really interested.
So not interested in, as in she doesn't pick it at all. She doesn't like
She
to.
will pick it.
Yeah.
I've tried to train her because I've got another dog who
Okay.
loves to retrieve, and I think she's learned through copying. But you can tell it's not her thing.
It's not her thing. Yeah.
Like food's not her thing.
The environment is her thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
Smells.
yeah. And that's the really hard thing with dog training, is that, like, you know, whatever reward you have, the environment's always going to be against you, whether it's gameplay, food, or any of those things. If you can kind of cap this environment so that your reward is better, and it's kind of always better, that the environment does fade into the background a little bit. But if you go out there and you've got nothing for them, and the environment's, it's gonna always win.
Yeah.
So with hunt, point, retrieve, or like pointers, that's, I mean, the environment wins every time. It's so people have so much difficulty with them because they're so wired up for the environment that trying to get their focus is extremely difficult. Let's just have a little look. Hello. I'll just take that step. Come on in. So this is just a paint roller. That's obviously not that interesting. But but for you having this little bit of fun at home, it'll be doing some boring stuff. Do a little bit of boring stuff. Not that you want to sort of bore the pants off her, but when a ball or something like that comes out, she goes, oh, I'd rather do that than the boring stuff a little bit. And what I'd be looking for is that I wouldn't be asking her to sit, be steady, be any of those things. I want her chasing it round, sort of that, so her nose is on it. If her nose is on it, that's okay. It's not good enough though. I would want to get her chasing it a little bit more to the point in which she's starting to mouth it. When she's starting to mouth it, that's when I know that she's more likely to pick it. And then that's when I won't have any words for it. I'll just throw it out, see what she does. If she picks it, great. And you're kind of going, but what you want to do, you want to build a bit of drive in the ball or whatever it is, just so that you have that thing. So when this starts sort of releasing the fireworks in the brain of fun, she's going to really enjoy it. But until we can get the focus on it and get it going. So normally what happens is people ask the dog to sit and be steady and wait for it too early on, and they don't really have enough go for the item of retrieving. So all the puppies, everything that we're doing, we call it razzing them up. We just get them really, really excited for it, to the point that they're really chasing. We don't want them vocalizing or getting anything like that, but it will just be as soon as they're really going for it, that's the point we pop it out. You would want to be in a narrow corridor at home, a little alleyway, just somewhere where she can't go too far, and then just encouraging her to come back. Now, the more we show her that position here, the more she's likely to repeat that position with something in her mouth. So that's kind of why we're doing it now. We're doing it to underpin the future. So we're putting these pictures in, and then what we're going to do is we'll add the ball, add distractions, all of that stuff. So there's a method to why we're doing it. The reason we set it up like this is that is the picture. She comes rushing into the picture. This is where it is. Okay.
Fabulous, thank you very much.
Do you have any questions at the end of that? Because it's kind of information heavy.
No, I don't think so. I think we've got plenty to practice.
Good. Lots to practice. A sweet little dog.
So hopefully you can see from this little lesson with Molly and her owner that Molly's done really well, and her owner has done really well to get Molly to do well. But they're just little tricks of the trade, almost little quirks that Ash has just pulled up the owner for doing the wrong thing with Molly, because from the sitting and staying and calling the dog off, and a few other things, and you can just see those tiny little things that they just make such a big difference. And one of the things I often say to people is, if you look after the dog pennies, the dog pounds look after themselves. Get those little things right, and the big things will work. And the owner, wasn't taught by us to call the dog off a sit and stay. It's something she's done from someone else, or from reading a book, or she just thinks that's what she's meant to do. And just by correcting that, we're just continuing the little Molly on the right path to being a really, really great family dog and really well-behaved dog. So you remember, you get out what you put in. Molly and her owner have come back for another lesson, and they're going to come back for a third, and they're really putting in the effort, and they're going to get the results. Hope you've enjoyed this, and we'll see you all next time.